Sometimes one person's decision can completely change the course of an entire season, and that's exactly what happened when Anna Yan made the shocking choice to walk away from Love is Blind Season 9. Without any warning or explanation, her sudden exit didn't just affect her own journey, it created a devastating domino effect that destroyed multiple relationships and left several contestants heartbroken and confused. What started as a promising love story in the pods turned into one of the most selfish and cowardly moves in Love is Blind history, and fans are still trying to understand how someone could be so cruel to people who genuinely cared about her. Yuan seemed like she had everything going for her when she entered the Love is Blind experiment. As a hairstylist with Chinese American heritage, she was confident, articulate, and appeared ready to find love. She quickly became one of the most sought-after women in the pods, forming deep connections with multiple men who were genuinely interested in building a future with her. Her conversations were meaningful, her personality was engaging, and she seemed to understand exactly what the experiment was about, finding love based on emotional connection rather than physical appearance. The two men who fell hardest for Anna were Patrick Suzuki and Blake Anderson, and both of them thought they had found something special with her. Patrick, a 31-year-old construction manager, was particularly drawn to Anna because they shared similar cultural backgrounds and experiences as Asian Americans. They bonded over the challenges they had faced growing up in predominantly white communities and the unique pressures that came with their heritage. For Patrick, who had always struggled with insecurities about his ethnicity and appearance, Anna felt like someone who truly understood him on a level that no one else could. Blake, a 29-year-old accountant, was equally smitten with Anna. Their connection was different from Patrick's, but just as strong, built on shared values, humor, and what seemed like genuine romantic chemistry. Blake was completely invested in their relationship and believed that Anna was feeling the same way about him. He was already imagining their future together and felt confident that they would end up engaged when the time came to make that decision. What made Anna's situation even more complicated was that she seemed genuinely interested in both men. She wasn't just leading them on or playing games. Her conversations with both Patrick and Blake appeared authentic and meaningful. She was asking the right questions, sharing personal stories, and giving both men every reason to believe that she was serious about finding love. There were no obvious red flags or signs that she was having doubts about the process. But behind the scenes, Anna was struggling with feelings that she wasn't sharing with anyone. She later revealed that she felt guilty about taking a spot in the pods that could have gone to someone else who was more serious about finding love. She was worried about her parents and how they would react to her being on the show. The pressure of the experiment and the intensity of the connection she was forming seemed to overwhelm her in ways that weren't obvious to the men she was talking to or even to the producers. The night Anna decided to leave was like something out of a nightmare for Patrick and Blake. Without any warning or explanation, Anna simply chose to walk away from the entire experiment. She didn't have final conversations with either man to explain her feelings or give them closure. She didn't say goodbye or apologize for the pain she was about to cause. Instead, she quietly packed her things and left the pods in her pajamas, unwilling to even face the cameras for a proper exit interview. The producers gave Anna the option to have a formal goodbye or to explain her decision to Patrick and Blake, but she refused. She chose the most cowardly way possible to handle the situation, leaving two men who had opened their hearts to her completely in the dark about what had gone wrong. The show simply displayed a message explaining that Anna had chosen to leave, without any context or explanation for why she had made that decision, and Patrick's reaction to Anna's departure was absolutely heartbreaking to watch. He was completely blindsided by her exit and couldn't understand what had happened. One day they were having deep, meaningful conversations about their future together, and the next day she was gone without a trace. Patrick was left questioning everything about their connection and wondering if he had misread the entire situation. The pain and confusion on his face was obvious, and it was clear that Anna's departure had shattered his confidence in ways that would affect him for the rest of the season. Blake's response was even more dramatic. Anna's sudden exit served as what he called a wake-up call that made him question the entire Love is Blind process. If someone could just disappear without any explanation after forming what seemed like genuine connections, what was the point of continuing? Blake was so devastated by Anna's ghosting that he decided to leave the show as well, walking away from his other connections, including Megan, who had considered him her top choice. The ripple effects of Anna's decision didn't stop there. When Blake left because of Anna's exit, it completely destroyed Megan's plans for her own love story. Megan, who goes by Sparkle Megan, had been in a complicated love situation with Blake, Jordan, and Mike. Blake was her #1 choice, and she was planning to choose him when the time came to get engaged. But when Blake left because he was so hurt by Anna's departure, Megan was forced to choose between Jordan and Mike, neither of whom she felt as strongly about. Patrick's situation became even more complicated because Anna's exit forced him to pivot to his distant #2 choice, Casey McIntosh. If Anna had stayed and chosen someone else, Patrick might have had time to explore other connections or leave the show himself. Instead, he felt pressured to make something work with Casey, which led to the disastrous gaslighting situation that has become one of the season's biggest controversies. Patrick's entire journey was derailed by Anna's selfish decision to ghost him. The fan reaction to Anna's behavior has been overwhelmingly negative. Social media platforms have been flooded with comments from viewers who are disgusted by her cowardly exit. Many people are pointing out that she wasted not only Patrick and Blake's time, but also took a spot away from someone who might have been genuinely ready to find love. The consensus among fans is that Anna's behavior was selfish, immature, and cruel to people who had been vulnerable with her. What makes Anna's exit even more frustrating is that she seemed to understand the emotional stakes of the experiment. She knew that Patrick and Blake were developing real feelings for her, and she knew that her sudden departure would cause them pain, but she chose to prioritize her own comfort over their emotional well-being, leaving them to deal with the aftermath of her decision without any explanation or closure. The timing of Anna's exit also raises questions about her true intentions for being on the show. If she was having serious doubts about the process, or wasn't ready for the commitment that Love is Blind requires, she should have addressed those concerns earlier or never applied in the first place. Instead, she waited until 2 men had fallen for her before deciding to walk away, maximizing the emotional damage her departure would cause. Anna's ghosting has become a cautionary tale about the importance of communication and honesty in relationships, even when those conversations are difficult. Her decision to leave without explanation shows a complete lack of respect for the people who had trusted her with their feelings. It's a reminder that reality television involves real people with real emotions, and the choices contestants make can have lasting effects on others. The most tragic part of Anna's story is how her cowardly exit changed the entire trajectory of the season. Patrick ended up in a toxic situation with Casey, Blake left the show heartbroken, and Megan was forced to settle for someone who wasn't her first choice. One person's inability to handle difficult conversations created a chain reaction of pain and disappointment that affected multiple couples and changed the course of several people's journeys toward finding love. As Love is Blind Season 9 continues, Anna Yuan's ghosting will be remembered as one of the most selfish and damaging moves in the show's history, proving that sometimes the people who leave early can cause just as much drama as those who stay until the end. Her actions serve as a stark reminder that emotional responsibility matters, even in reality television.